says stream was deleted or has ended. Literally immediately after I start streaming to YouTube. Okay, this time it connected. I wonder what kind of game YouTube is playing. Hopefully it stays online. Banana and peanut smoothie. So, there are a lot of different things that I'm doing and creating in my life. And it seems that every step that I take, I'm met with another challenge. I overcome it, the very next step is another challenge, and so on and so forth. And it seems to be quite endless. No matter how many obstacles I overcome, there is immediately another one. So I want to understand what the fuck that's about. I mean, it just makes progress so unbearably slow. It makes me feel stagnant, although there is still progress, and it's so small it's hardly noticeable. So, yeah, I want to know what that's about, you know? All those obstacles. Take one step, meet another obstacle. Overcome it, take one more step, another obstacle. Overcome it, take one step, another obstacle. And it gets very frustrating, and it's been going on for the past 25 years. I was supposed to be king of the world by now, right? Why is it taking so long? So I've got a Seven of Swords as my overview. So I was literally just talking about having many different things that I'm creating, different goals that I'm working towards. That literally just says the same thing. Queen of Swords is my conscious mind, expanding in new ideas, learning new topics, learning new things. Nine of discs in the unconscious mind, trying to reflect on my past. I mean, like, okay, where have I been successful financially, physically, healthily? Where have I not been? And you know, what are the things that I did that brought about those successes, or what are the things that I did that brought about those failures? Just learning from my own experiences, building on past success and avoiding past failure. The past interval, things that are coming to a close, is Four of Wands. Four of Wands. Four of Wands is like making sense of our intentions and passions, trying to make sense of it, trying to create some kind of structure that'll get me towards it, get me moving towards it. Oh, I didn't put the crossing card in. Crossing the present, Ten of Cups. That's a lot of emotion. A lot of emotion, and it has been quite unpleasant. It's talking about the present, and yeah, yesterday and today there's like huge amounts of emotion, full expression of emotion, and it's absolutely horrific. So, what's up on the horizon? Things that are about to open, resistances and adversity, and I'm literally just asking about why this is the case, and it shows up again. It's like, don't worry buddy, it's only just beginning. The struggle's only just starting, bro. Better buckle up. My attitude is Five of Cups in reverse. My attitude and my approach. This says that I'm doing the best that I can with these emotions that I'm dealing with, and it's just not quite good enough. There are too many limits. Too many limitations. Princess of Swords is an outside influence, so these are creative solutions and ingenuity, you know, coming from the outside. And I see this. I see where this is. Like whenever I have a problem, you know, certain individuals come out of nowhere and start telling me things I didn't know about the problem. Like Local El Taco, for example. Came and gave me all the information that I needed right when I needed it, you know, regarding electricity and currents and circuits. Hopes and fears. This card is literally hope for the completion of goals. It's Three of Swords. Hope for my intuition. Hoping that my intuition is guiding me the right way. Hoping that my goals are attainable. Hoping that, you know, each step that I take is actually going to get me something somewhere. And fears that it won't. That it's all a waste of time. Fears that I'm being misled. Outcome. Grotesque injury. Grotesque and grievous injury. Death card in reverse. Near-death experience. I don't want to have a near-death experience. I'm not interested in that. Literally not interested. Literally not interested in that adversity either. Literally not interested. Don't think I will agree and participate in either of those frequencies. Hey, Bunch. I'm literally ready to set these cards on fire. There's no such thing, bro. No such thing as twin flames. No such thing as karmic partners. It's a lie. Sorry to burst your bubble. It's like all the stories of the demigods, Shiva, Krishna, all that stuff is just stories. None of it's actually real, none of it really happened. It's the same with twin flames and soulmates and karmic partners. None of it's really real. It's just stories. It's like the Bible, the story of Jesus, Muhammad. It's all just stories, bro. It's all just stories. There are things that we can learn from the stories, but it's all just stories. And look a little deeper into these cards here. So this, I literally see that there's one sword, and there are 6 other swords that are fighting that one sword. And they're chipping it, like they're leaving marks and dents and cuts in the big sword. It's one big sword fighting 6 small swords. I feel like that's me. Exactly. It's like a spot on description of me. Like my sword, the one sword is like ideas, my goals. And I feel like there are 6 other swords that want to see me fail. They're like doing everything they can to get in the way. And it hurts. You know, it leaves marks, it leaves cuts, it leaves dents, it leaves chips. It slows me down, but their efforts are futile. My goals cannot be undone. What I've set in motion cannot be undone. That's what this card says. It's like, yeah, there's a fuck ton of resistance. Everywhere you look, there's an enemy that wants to see you fail, but what you've set in motion, it's too big to fall apart now. Yeah, they can hurt it, they can leave marks in it, damage it, slow it down, but they cannot undo what's been done. Queen of Swords says, I'm expanding towards new ideas, expanding into new topics that I haven't ventured into before. Learning new things, you know, I'm overcoming resistances along the way, but the reason I feel like, you know, there's so many is because I've never done it before. So if I'd done it before, then I would know, okay, there's going to be this obstacle, that obstacle, and I can prepare for it all in advance. But because I've never done it before, I have to learn about it as I go, and I have to learn how to overcome it as I go. Nine of Discs. So every time that I meet an obstacle, hey Varnika, hope you're doing good. Every time that I meet an obstacle, then I reflect. I'm like, okay, I could have avoided being here. So here's an example. Like this morning, I was on my way outside to go and start building a solar rig, and the very first thing I need to do is connect the negative to the positive on the solar panel, because that disengages the electrical flow. That means I can safely work with the panel and screw things through it without shocking myself. But the connectors wouldn't go together. They were rusted. I was like, okay, well, what could I have done differently? You know, when I went to the shop and I bought those other connectors, I could have bought 4 instead of 2. Then I would just change these now and all would be good. I could continue. But because I didn't have that foresight, I didn't. So it's like this reflection is saying to it's an example in those moments where I meet an obstacle that I'm like, okay, well, it could be better than it is if I had, you know, checked all the things in advance, checked things. If I had tried that earlier and seen, okay, this needs replacing, if I had been a little bit more thorough in my observation process. 4 of Wands. This is like me figuring out what are my real intentions here, and what is the actual outcome that I'm trying to create. It's me figuring it out, but this is coming to a close. I have figured it out. It took a while. It took a while to really figure it out. It took me a while to figure it out. But I did. At some point I did figure it out. Like when I started doing my art streams, before I did the art streams, I wanted to start it. I wanted to create other kinds of content, and I didn't know how, why. What is it gonna take? I didn't really want to do it because I knew it would take my viewers backwards, because people who come to this channel are used to receiving mystic services, tarot readings. And it did hurt. It did hurt, but when I put it in motion, I had figured out what my intention was. I was trying to create time-lapse videos. That's all it was about. It wasn't there to get better viewers. It wasn't there to get more subscribers. I started doing it because I needed that content for myself. And I didn't have the space on my laptop to record the whole thing, so I streamed it. And that's how the art streams got set in motion. So this card, it's talking about that whole period, which has now come to a close. Me figuring out what are my actual intentions for being here and what is the outcome that I'm trying to create. So it's coming to a close now because, yeah, I have sorted through it. Ruby Somoza, welcome back. Tarot Destroyer says, "Don't be fooled, people. This man has no mystical power, no otherworldly insight. He's making up stories based on plastic-coated cartoon cards that were made in China. It's 100% nonsense." Oh dear. I think that I'm busy proving him wrong. 10 of Cups. This one is crossing my present, which was me having, you know, my goals, my purpose, but then feeling like there are resistances and challenges around every corner. Here with this card, with like one sword facing off with 6 other swords. 10 of Cups is all of the emotions that come up because of that, you know, all the frustrations. I'm like, oh, I'm fucking frustrated now, I'm fucking angry, I'm feeling disappointed, I'm feeling depressed. All of this stuff comes up with each step. And today I'm doing this reading because it's reached its full peak, you know. I'm like, fuck it, I need to understand this better, I need a new perspective. So that's where I'm at, because the emotions are just fucking shit at this point. I hear the sound of a mosquito. It's dead now. So I just want to address the one referring to himself as the Tarot Destroyer. Everything we do, we set something in motion. So if I spend my time supporting people and encouraging them, lifting them up towards their goals, other people will do that for me. It'll come back towards me. If I have to do something like you and go around and find mostly girls, you pick on girls, I know. I've watched you pick on girls because you can make them cry and you can make them upset, and it makes you feel good about yourself. So doing that to other people means that that's going to come around back to you. That's the kind of seed you're sowing. Like me here giving advice, I'm sowing seeds of richness and abundance, fruit seeds, fruit trees. You're sowing poisonous seeds, thorns, briars, things that will choke you to death in the long term. Also, I don't really tolerate vampires and irritants on my stream. Like, I'm not insecure, so I'm not bothered if you want to come here and slander me, but like if you start to bother people that I care about, I will just fucking kill you. Like, you will just disappear off the face of the planet. Just like, and it'll be done. Five of Cups in reverse. This is my attitude, my approach. Doing the best that I can with all of the emotions that I feel. But it's not quite good enough. It's still spilling over, it's still affecting the people around me. There are limits, like I'm raised a certain way, I've got my dad's influence, I've got my mom's influence, and that defines my worldview and how I approach the world and how I deal with my emotions, where I channel them. And there are limits because they only know so much and they pass that on to me. So I'm doing the best that I can with what I've been given. And it's not quite enough, it's still spilling over. So the suggestion that this card has for me is to, like, communicate with other people, learn from their examples, because they have perspective. They've received knowledge from their parents and people they know that I don't necessarily have. So I learn from them, they learn from me, and we both evolve. Princess of Swords. This is outside influences, so these are like ideas, help, and ingenuity and creative solutions that are coming from the outside. And this is, I know this is like my granddad, and this is Local El Taco on Twitch, and there's a couple other people. When I'm facing all these obstacles as I go along, there are certain people who come out of nowhere and they give me the information, or they tell me something and I didn't know about it before. So again, the example, solar system is a perfect example. Like, I was busy getting all the things to build the solar rig, and then Local El Taco comes out of nowhere and he's like, so if you're going to connect that 36 volt panel to a 12 volt battery, it's going to fry it. So you're going to need to have two 12 volt batteries that you connect in series, which will double the voltage to 24, and then that'll be able to handle the 36 volt current. So he saved me a battery in essence. So you see little ideas, solutions that are coming from the outside that help me overcome the obstacles that I face. Number 15, the Devil, Adversity. This card feels like tongue-in-cheek, like, you think you're struggling now? It's only just starting, bro. It's only just starting. You better buckle up. Mostly it's talking about people. It's not really talking about events or circumstances, which has been the problem thus far. Thus far it's been like events, priorities conflicting with each other, like home life, work life not really fitting together, got so many farm priorities, got so many content creation responsibilities that they don't really give time for one another. That's the kind of resistances that I have been facing. This one is talking to me about like disagreements with people like the Tarot Destroyer, disagreements with people like the woman that is teaching me about psychic development. I haven't really learned anything from her yet because of all the technical difficulties that have prevented our meeting, prevented our sessions and our lessons. But yeah, it's like disagreements, also disagreements with other people that live on this property. There are already disagreements there. And at certain points in the past, you know, we've tried to force each other to see things from, like I've tried to force Anna to see things from my perspective, and he's trying to do the same to me. So this card, it kind of suggests to me, don't do it again, you know, don't take that approach again. When there are these disagreements that come up, I can just mind my own business and go on in my direction, do things my way. You know, just be like, okay, I acknowledge what you're saying, I hear you, but I'm going to continue on in my direction. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, and there isn't really anything you can do about it. And, you know, to let him just be himself and do what he's doing, and everyone just get along and do what they need to do. Even if we don't agree with what the other is doing, you know, just staying out of each other's personal space. Where am I now? Three of Swords. So this one is my hopes and fears, and it's literally about things that I hope for and the things that I'm afraid of. It talks about my goals, it talks about my intuition, hoping that my intuition is taking me where I need to go, guiding me straight, that my logic and my reasoning is sound, that my strategies will pay off. Fears that it won't. Fears that there are flaws in my reasoning and my critical thinking. Fears that there are flaws in my strategies. Fears that my intuition is leading me astray. Fears that my goals are too big for me to accomplish. Three of Swords gives me the advice saying that those fears are illusions, that anything I can visualize I can create, and if at first I fail, all I have to do is re-examine my strategy and apply it again, try it again. Some technical difficulties again, or they are supposedly technical difficulties, but it seems to be a lie. It seems like there are no difficulties. Everything seems to be running fine. I'm just making sure. And then I've got the Death card in the future in reverse. So even though it says that there's like a problem with my stream, it's actually working just fine. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Anyway, this death card in reverse, it talks about previous injury, near-death experience, a complete end to everything that I've been doing, and birth of something new. But I don't agree. I don't accept it. I've been through this too many times, and there's going to be something I can do to avoid it. There's going to be something I can change here. If I can turn this one around, and if I turn this one around, and I let this be expressed, I don't suppress it. If I can express this properly and creatively, I don't want that to like burn up my whole candle. But yeah, if I can express this creatively and constructively without creating any damage, as we have been with the 5, then I can turn this the right way around. And it doesn't have to be upside down. Upside down means pain, means death, means injury. The right way around, it means like rebirth. Me choosing to destroy something that's not serving and then give birth to something that is. So what is it that's not serving? What needs to shift? Location. Location is becoming quite a big problem. What else needs to shift? I feel like if I can identify the things that are stagnant and things that are not serving, and I can deliberately throw them out of my life and cut them out of my life, I can avoid a lot of unnecessary pain. I can avoid a near-death experience, basically. The first thing that comes up for me is addiction, but I'm already throwing all of those things away. All of my addictions, I'm demolishing them one at a time. The second thing that comes up for me is location. This location, this physical location. It doesn't serve me very well. There's no insulation in this building. There's no soundproofing in this building. And during the week, it's pretty quiet, but on weekends, it is like the most noisy place on the planet. But that's that, right? That's my reading for myself. Barnica was asking for general advice. I hope the Tarot Destroyer stuck around to hear all of that. And Tarot Destroyer, I want to also let you know that I printed these myself. Printed them, stuck them, pasted them, laminated them myself. Each one of these cards holds my literal blood, sweat, and tears. This whole place was burning down. This whole valley was on fire. people were being evacuated, and I was sitting here making these cards. First I went and enchanted a barrier around the property to prevent the fire from burning this particular place, and it worked. Just by the way, this house didn't burn, this farm didn't burn. Neither did the neighboring farms, because, you know, the barrier went around the whole valley. The fire came right around it, but didn't burn anything within it. And yeah, once I enchanted the barrier, I came home and I started making these, sticking them together. I had been burned that day. I had cut myself on fences. Literal blood, sweat, and tears in every single one of these cards. Like, the oracle of today is about co-creation and how creative actions form the foundations of your identity. The creative process that produced these tarot cards is one of those. It's one of those foundation stones for my identity and who I've become. At the same time, I practice non-attachment. Like, this is like a sacred tool for me. But I'm going to update it. I'm busy with a new one. And when the new one is done, I will give this to someone else. I will bless someone else with this deck. And everything that I've been through and all the guidance it's provided for me and all the security it's created for me, I will be passing on to someone else. It's outdated for me. I'm moving on to a tool that resonates closer to my heart, but there's still a lot of my energy in here, my literal blood, sweat, and tears. So, Varnika, you were next. You were the first one to get a reading, if you're still here. Otherwise, Varnika's not here. The next one will be Ruby. But anyway, guys, the queue is open. I just did a rather in-depth reading for myself, but please go ahead and join the queue whenever you're ready. Oh, you are here. Okay, so I'm not getting my, I see my chat is malfunctioning. Okay, cool. And I see Mr. Subin is here as well. Okay. I can see you guys now. It's not coming through on my screen. I've got a notification here that says that YouTube is malfunctioned and is not working, but that's not the truth, because when I open YouTube I can see all of your comments. So yeah, the stream is still working, but the comments are no longer working. So I'm going to start with Varnika, and then we'll move on to Ruby, and then I'm going to go on to Mr. Subin. And Ruby was asking for, Varnika was asking for general reading and general advice. Fantastic. Yeah, so guys, I can still see you even though my chat is frozen and malfunctioned, but I'm going to leave it up there because I think that Twitch messages will still come through. If I get any messages from Twitch, you know, the platforms, they go through periods. 1 month YouTube will get no viewers and no chats, and 1 month Twitch will be blowing up, and another month Twitch will be no viewers and be quiet, and then YouTube will blow up. So I get a unique advantage streaming across multiple platforms, because those who do YouTube only, when YouTube is stagnant and slow, nothing happens, no growth happens. And for those who only stream on Twitch, when Twitch is stagnant and slow, you know, no growth happens there. But because I've always got one that's still pumping, everything is good. But yeah, I need to do something about this queue. I need like a text document with a queue. I need a new creative solution to this malfunction of my chat. So opening a text document. Text document will replace my chat on screen. So Varnika, I've drawn these cards for you, this spread is for you, but I need to do something about the chat because it's going faster than I can keep up with, and I want to make sure I get everyone in the list. Ruby, Mr. Subin, Shika, bingo, thank you. Okay. So Varnika first. 3 of Wands in reverse. So this is like a lack of awareness regarding your true intentions and your true desires. And this is in the past, it's something that's already coming to a close, but it's saying like in the past, when you have gone into a new relationship or when you have started a new project, or if you've gone and gotten a new job, you tell yourself that your intention is, I don't know, you go into a relationship, you tell yourself your intention is to create a family, or you go and you start a new job and you tell yourself your intention is to create security for yourself. But this is not the true intention underlying. Now, I can't tell you what the true intention was, not just from this card here, but it's like you were telling yourself that your intention was something that it really wasn't. And same with your desires. You like have these ideas of what your desires are, but they are not actually what your heart desires. Your heart's true desire is not actually what you think your desire is, or that's starting to change. This is in the past, it's coming to a close. So you are discovering true intention and you are discovering true desire, but for most of your life you haven't. You've been telling yourself stories that are not really the truth of who you are and what you really want from yourself and from others and from life. 3 of Discs is in the present, so this one is awareness. Now in reverse, it's like a lack of awareness or deceived awareness. 3 the right way around is clear awareness, clear understanding, self-acknowledgement. But this is Discs, that one is Wands. One is about desires and intentions. Discs is about your health, about your fitness, and about your finances. So over here, this is saying you are becoming self-aware. You're becoming aware of what is going to require of you if you're going to have the level of health and fitness you desire, and what is going to be required of you if you have the level of security, financial security that you actually desire. So it's like I see in my mind, okay, I want to have a nice big house, 3-bedroom house, and 2 cars. That's something that I desire. And then I become aware, okay, if that's what I want, then I'm going to have to do things in the present that create that future for myself. So that's the awareness, becoming aware of what is required of you to get from where you are to where you want to be. So that's what's going on for you. You're figuring it out. It's like dawning on you, having the realization, oh snap, this is what's going to require, this is what it's going to take for me to get fit. This is what it's going to take for me to get rich. And it gives you hope. It lets you feel like, okay, this is actually doable. Before, I was dreaming about it, but I didn't have any idea of how to get there. But now that you see what it takes, you actually know where you can put one foot in front of the other to actually start moving towards that. So that's a cool card. Princess of Wands. Princess of Wands is in the future. So it's opening up for you. And the very first thing this card says for you is that you don't have to be afraid. Those things that you're afraid of, you feel anxiety, you feel fear of failure, fear of uncertainty. All of these things don't actually feature. Yeah, once upon a time, when you tried this out the first time, you know, when you went into your first relationship, when you got your first job, you didn't know what to expect, so there were fears, and those fears were real. Right now, you're feeling the same kind of fears, but they're not real anymore, because you've done this before, you've been through this process before, you understand. Like I was saying to myself earlier in my reading, I'm expanding into new ideas, so I'm learning afresh, I'm learning things from scratch, and that's why there's so much resistance. But if I had been here before, I would, you know, be able to foresee all of these resistances and plan in advance. So it's like you can plan in advance. You have that advantage in that you've been here before, you've done these things before, you've set in motion plans to create wealth for yourself, you've set in motion plans to start a new diet or to start an exercise routine. You've done this kind of thing before, so you actually have a unique advantage when starting it again or starting it from scratch. So those things that you're afraid of or nervous about that are making it hard for you to start, to like take the first step, it's like a dead corpse. You're like carrying that corpse around by your neck, but it's actually dead. And you don't need to be carrying it around anymore. You can let it go, and you can leap towards your passions, and you can leap towards your passion. Your passions, letting your intuition guide you, and your experiences from the past guide you. That is Varnika's reading. Ruby was next. You're most welcome, Varnika. Most welcome. Glad to hear that. It looks like my chat just came back online. I'm going to refresh it and then we're going to see. Gonna refresh the chat. Gonna refresh the cat. Let's resurrect the cat. Let's bring the cat back to life. That's a little joke. You know, a long time ago I was chatting with some people in a thread, and I typed chat and the H didn't register, so it came out as cat, and like from that point on in that specific thread we always referred to the chat as a cat. So if the thread got quiet and no one was talking, then we'd say the chat is dead. The cat is dead. Cat has died. And then if somebody messages the chat, and it starts flowing again, then we say, oh, we've resurrected the cat. So come on guys, let's resurrect the cat. Ruby, are you still here? Because you're next. After Ruby is Mr. Subin. After Mr. Subin is Shika. What is my future career and where will I go for work? So it looks like it's working again. The cat has been revived. We've resurrected the cat. $30 right? That's right. Cool. Internationally known player. I have a question for the tarot cards. Why does my penis hurt? It's a serious question. Okay. So internationally, welcome Zara. Internationally known player. I would recommend that you see a doctor, to be perfectly honest. So I can provide healing and I can provide insights, but I would honestly recommend that you check out a doctor first and find out what actually the problem is. Also, do you really want me to lay a spread for that? Because the tarot cards are going to be very explicit. They're not going to... This is a public forum, eh? And the tarot cards are not going to be gentle just because we're in public. They're just going to be dead, honest, straightforward. It's not the cards that speak, it's my spirit. It's my spirit guides and my spirit, and they speak through the symbols in the cards. Like, there are many different symbols, astrology symbols, Kabbalah symbols, numerology, and all of these different symbols, and the order in which it shows up, tells the narrative. And there's other symbols like fathers and mothers and birds and all kinds of symbols that represent different parts of the human condition. But anyway, we're doing career reading for Ruby Somoza. And Ruby, I'm just going to do a career reading for you, but that question, what country will I go for work, you're going to choose that. You're going to decide what country you're going to. Queen of Discs in reverse. First of all, this card says, don't destroy what you have while looking for something better. It says that you've done that before. You've let your greed or your lack of satisfaction destroy the things you'd already created while you were obsessing about something better. I don't have enough. This isn't good enough. I need something more. I need more. I need more. I need more. And then losing what you already had while looking for things that you don't even have. The symbols in this card is literally a queen sitting in an oasis in the desert. She's looking out in the desert. It's like she has been walking around the desert for a while, and she finally found this little oasis where there's enough food and enough water to keep her alive. But it's not a very much, it's not a lot of, it's not the cleanest water, it's not the most abundant food, it's not the most good tasting food. So she's looking over in the desert being like, I wonder if there's another oasis out here. If I go and explore over that dune over there, or that dune over there, maybe I'll find a better oasis. But that's not the case. If she goes wandering out in the desert, she'll probably die before she finds another oasis. She'll lose out on the security she's already found if she goes, like, she's been blessed. Her intuition has led her to the only place where she will find security. And she's like, this is not good enough, I need better, so I'm going to wander out in the desert again. No. That symbol is saying to you, practice gratitude. Look at the things that you've already accomplished, what you have right where you are, the career you do have. Don't let your ambitions destroy the things you've already created in your home country. That's what that card says. Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is what you're going through right now. So the reason you're even here asking me this question, it's because you feel like your goals are being reborn. You've come to the end of things that you had set for yourself. You're like, okay, I want to create so much security, I want to create this for myself, I want that, blah, da, 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 and you've gone there, and it's finished now. And you're like, okay, well, what's the next step? What am I going to do next? I've reached this milestone, I have a house, I have a job, I have a house, what's the next step? And the next step for you is like, maybe I'll go abroad, maybe I do this, maybe I do that. So that's where you are now, and this card says work with what you've got. Work where you are and with what you've got. I'm going to give you an example from my own life. Example from my own life. Okay, so if we rewind 3 years ago, 3 years ago, I had no power, I had no internet, I had a wood burning stove, like I could cook on fire, and I had running water. That's all I had. But that was a milestone because I had just come from the city where I had lost my job, I had lost my house because I couldn't pay rent. So it was a milestone. I actually had something. I had a roof over my head. I could cook. Yeah, I had to go outside and cut down trees and then burn the wood to cook, but I could still, I could live. So that was a milestone, and I was like, okay, what can I want to expand, right? I want to move to the next step. What can I do? And I was like, okay, well, what I want to do is create communities, international communities, that is beyond location, beyond space, like online, all that sort of thing. But I don't have internet, don't have power, da. So I was like, okay, well, what do I have? I have paper, I have pencils. I can draw, I can start practicing and developing art, I can sing. So that's what I did. That was my first step. That was me using what I had at my disposal to move into my next step, start pursuing new goals. And then when I did that, I did that for a while. I got a job as a receptionist. That allowed me to get my first phone. Not my first, just a new phone. It was a shit phone at that time. And I could get data, so I could start social media networking. I started a Facebook profile. And back then, I could only make text posts. I couldn't even look at photos because data was expensive. And so on and so forth. It grew little by little, grew until I am here where I am now. It was a long journey to get here. But with each step, I can expand further. So that card is just saying to you, work with what you have close to home. And when you reach your next milestone, then you expand further. Then you reach that milestone, you expand further. So you don't have to jump from here to the top. You can jump little by little along the way until you get to the top. And if we're using the top as an example, and that is a metaphor for working abroad, sure, then take smaller steps to get to that point where you actually are in a position to go and work abroad. Exclaim, welcome, Brew. Welcome. I'm doing much better, to be honest. Like, physically, not feeling sick anymore. Ace of Swords in the future. How are you doing, though? This is still Ruby's reading. I literally said I'm feeling better, and now I need to sneeze. Excuse me. Ace of Swords in reverse. Okay, so Ruby, this Ace of Swords, it says to me that you come up with these ideas, you get ideas, and you set them in motion. I'm going to move abroad. It's an idea, and you start doing things to make it happen. I'm going to do this, an idea, and you start doing things to make it happen. But you don't talk about it, and that's the most important part of making anything manifest, making anything real, is to communicate it. Talking to it with family members, talking about it with friends, talking about it with colleagues, writing about it in your own personal journals, posting it on your blog. That's the most important part of getting anything rolling and starting any kind of manifestation, is to give it its first physical form in words. Sound waves, pictures. So yeah, it just says to you, go ahead and communicate it, you know? Talk about it, be more open about it. Because keeping it all to yourself, you probably see it as a pattern, like you get these ideas, all these cool ideas, and you're like, I need to do this, need to do that, but then it never happens. And the reason it never happens is because you always keep it to yourself. And the reason you keep it to yourself is because you're afraid that you can't create it, or that tomorrow you'll change your mind or have a new idea. So this card just says to you, be clear, choose your idea, choose the thing you're going to create, choose the goal, realize what it's going to require of you, what it's going to take to get there, and then start communicating about it, talking about it, because other people will give you ideas, will give you insight, advice, and they might even be prepared to help you get there, support you, give you money, whatever, a job, you know, that kind of thing. The people of the last generation are equally as toxic as this generation, just in different ways and through different expressions. People who are toxic, like yourself, internationally known player, your toxic energy, you know, you're no different to your dad, and he was no different to his dad. You guys just expressed your pain, because it's usually pain, it's usually scars in your heart that make you the way you are, that make people the way they are. Warped paradigms, being taught about Christianity, and Christianity having stupid shit in it, like gays must be stoned, what the fuck. A man who murders his slave doesn't have to be punished, whatever else, is all these other retarded things that are written in the ancient books. You know, making them as foundation stones for your identity, and then hurting your children because of those identity stones, and then them hurting their children, and so on and so forth. And each one just expresses this pain differently in different toxic character traits. Cheers, Exclaim. Thanks for popping in. Oh, I can't select multiple reasons for why you should be banned. I want to select things like hateful conduct, bullying, harassment, spam, explicit content, terrorism, but I can only select one, so which one would it be? What are you going to be known for, internationally known player? What are you known for? Are you known for self-harm? I'm gonna make you known for being just irritating, like a mosquito. Please remove the mosquitoes from my channel before I start, you know, zapping them and poisoning them. Before they start keeling over and dying. So Mr. Subin was next in the queue. Yes, Mr. Subin was next in the queue. Oh, but I see that my chat has malfunctioned again. So weird, right? So weird. trying to figure out, what I did earlier was I blocked somebody, so I want to know if there's some way that I can do something to refresh YouTube chat so that I can see it on screen again. So that I don't have to keep on switching windows and stuff. It's highly frustrating to do it like that. Please don't spam the chat though, guys. Okay, so you're going to be known for multiple issues now. Bible says something about pretty feet or something. Well, you should stop reading the Bible if that's what it's teaching you. Yes, Mr. Subin, you are next. Says something about the Bible changing over time. I wouldn't know anything about that. All I know is that it's full of stories, All of those holy books, full of stories. That's all I know. What action do I recommend for those who ruin society? I don't know what that means. I ruin society. I go out of my way to ruin society. So, I'm not really sure what you mean by that. Mr. Subin, do you ever have a question? Because you always ask for general. I remember when we first met, you asked me a couple of questions, but ever since then it's always been general. So, let me know if you ever get a general, if you ever get a question that you want answered. I guess it doesn't really matter, but I feel like if you're asking for a tarot reading and you don't really have anything specific in mind, then you don't really get all that much value. If you've got something specific in mind, then whether or not you ask a question, you get more value. But if you're just bored and give me a reading, you're not going to get much value from it. The cards will tell you things that you need to hear. But if you don't have a specific problem you're trying to overcome or a specific question you want answered, then you usually don't really take what the cards are saying very seriously. That's how it is, that's how humans are. If we're not taking ourselves very seriously, how can we take the advice we get very seriously? What does that mean, Mr. Subin? No. What does that even mean? So, Yegana. Adding you to the queue. Ten of discs in reverse. Mr. Subin. This is loss. Missing out. Trying to create things for yourself, but then it falling apart. Like, what's an example I could use? So, the only analogy that's coming to mind is like planting seeds, and then, so you say I plant a tree. My dog dies and I bury the dog, and I plant a seed on top of the grave, and the tree grows, and 7 years later the tree is nice and big, and then some ignorant, uninformed farmhand cuts it down because he thinks it's an alien tree, and like all of that time and energy that I invested into growing that tree got lost. So that's kind of like what has happened for you, Mr. Subin. This is something that's finished though, and like it's already happened, so yeah. I remember you were talking to me about how your plans, you can't manifest your plans or your goals because people don't agree with it. I feel like it's directly tied up in that stuff. So this card, again, it just reminds you that your misfortune is your own choice. You can reflect and you can see where you did things that contributed to your downfall, and you can see where you did things that contributed towards success. Like for me, in that example of the tree that I planted, and it's an example, I haven't actually done that. So the tree grows and someone cuts it down. Well, I could have put a fence around it. I could have dressed it, I could have wrapped some cloth around its trunk so that people know, oh, this is a special tree. I could have put a signboard there that explained, a memory, like a memorial stone in memory of the dog that was buried there, and that would have prevented it from being cut down accidentally. But I didn't do any of those things, and so, that's how we found ourselves where we are. Projectile vomiting usually comes in shorter, more violent bursts than other types of vomiting. Yes, I guess you would know, right, Victoria? You would know. And only you would know. Make sure that you aim straight for the toilet, Victoria. Otherwise you're going to have a hard time cleaning up while you're feeling nauseous. Ace of Swords. Welcome, Miss Serenity, and welcome back, Exclaim. What is your question there? Why do I try to get what I want without telling what I want? that was literally in the last reading that I did. There was someone had a card that said something exactly the same as them, saying that they do that. They try and achieve things without communicating it. Okay, so Mr. Subin, this Ace of Swords is in your present, and this says to you, don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged by past failures. Like, if I've planted a crop, and I'm going to use the analogy or the symbol of like a field of corn or a field of wheat. If it gets destroyed by bad weather, and I feel like, oh shit, well that didn't work out, I better never do that again. I'm never gonna have my harvest. So it's the same for you. It's saying, though you tried to accomplish something and it didn't work out for you, don't let that prevent you from ever trying again. You should immediately be setting new goals and trying again. Zara. Are you still here, Zara? Because I'd like to make you a moderator. Well, my God would like to make you a moderator. Would like to. But like literally, that download just came to me and said, "Make Zara a moderator." Number 16 is in the future for you, Mr. Subin. This card says that you are still believing things about yourself that are not true. You believe that you can do certain things that you can't do. You believe that you're capable of something that you're not capable of. And yeah, that's part of why you failed in the past. It's because you believed you could do something you couldn't, or you believed things about yourself and your capabilities, your capacity, and the environment around you that wasn't true. And you've been justifying those insecurities. You've been saying, oh, it's because of this thing in the environment, or it's because of that thing that I failed. But it was actually to do with you believing something that you couldn't do, believing you could do something you couldn't. And that realization is still going to hit you. You know, where you realize, actually, it's not because of my aunt, it's not because of the government, it's not because of this or that or that or that. It's actually because I thought I could wake up on time every day for that thing, but I couldn't. Or I thought that I had enough experience at studying, or I thought that I knew enough about quantum theory, whatever the example might be. And when that realization comes to you, there's going to be a lot of frustration and resentment towards yourself, and that's fine. Just express it in a healthy way. Like maybe draw a picture of yourself like hammering your own hand or whatever. Express it in a constructive way rather than doing something self-destructive or self-harming. Excuse me for a sec. I'm finished with your reading, Mr. Subin. This card is often a painful card, and I'm just using it as a weapon quickly. Someone I want to hit with it. Okay, so moving on. Who was after Mr. Subin? It was Shika. Okay. Shika wants a love reading. Welcome Sanch. Welcome Aries girl. So X-Flame, I don't really know. I haven't like, usually when people ask me questions, I start getting answers to the questions before I even lay the cards down. But for you, I'm not getting anything about why you don't communicate what you want to accomplish. But I am getting, don't do it. You know, go ahead and communicate. If you want something, go ahead and communicate. Even if you feel like you want to work towards it without communicating, don't. Make that a priority. Make communicating with your partner and with other people who are close to you your priority. You're getting it yourself, actually. Fantastic. Queen of Discs in reverse. Shika, this card is saying to you that you already have a relationship. Maybe it's not official, but you have a friendship. Exclaim. Thank you for that image. It might not be official, but it's saying that there's someone that is actually really close to you, someone you talk to often, someone who is probably a good match for you. Someone you are friend zoning that you shouldn't be friend zoning, basically. It's saying, why are you looking for relationship and love when you have this person in your life? This person wants to be with you, wants to cherish you and love you, and yet you're looking for something else. That's what this card says. Don't worry, Exclaim. At a certain point, the orgasmic pleasure rises up and overpowers all the pain. And you know, and like what you were experiencing as pain, you know, that in and out motion that is painful right now, at a certain point it becomes pure orgasmic pleasure. And it's like no more pain until after you come. Then it's like, Jesus Christ, you feel like you've had a train drive through your body in hopes of orgasm. Welcome, James. We're all doing good. How about yourself? So Shika, I've got a Prince of Discs in the present. And this is saying that you're feeling, the reason you're here asking me questions like this, it's because you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable in your present situation. If you are in a relationship, or if you have been, and that relationship is like on hold, or if it's not yet official, you're feeling uncomfortable there, and you feel like it's difficult to be in that relationship. And your approach to it has been to just wait until it gets better. Just wait until it gets better. Just wait. If I wait long enough, it'll get better. He will change. And this card wants to say to you that's not going to work. Just waiting around is not going to work. You're going to have to look at the situation and be like, okay, what can I do differently that'll bring about positive change? What can I say that'll bring about positive change? What example can I set that will bring about positive change? You need to look at what kind of creative solutions you can apply, because just waiting and enduring is not quite enough. That's what this card says. You need to be enduring, yes, but you can't just be enduring and waiting. You've got to also be creative and like ingenious and apply solutions at the same time that you're enduring. So if that's you waiting for someone to express their feelings for you, find some other way. Start a conversation. Talk about their exes. See if you can get them to talk about their feelings instead of just waiting. What does that shout? Oh, that's a bird. Ah! We call it the Adida. Hadida. Aries girl, I have added you to the queue, so I will call out your name when I get to you in the queue. I've added you to the queue now that you've indicated you'd like a reading. And Sanch as well, you indicating that you would like a reading. I'm adding you to the queue. How do you spell it? I don't really know. Because I don't think that's what it's actually called. That's just what we call it because it makes it sound ah. So Shika's reading is still going. This is a 5 of discs in reverse. This card is literally called Worry, and it's talking to me about worrying, like you're worrying about the relationship. Stressed that you're not doing enough, or it's not good enough, or it's going to fail, it's going to fall apart. Or you're trying to overreach, reaching for something that's not meant for you. Simran, you don't have to spam. Asking a question once is enough. Thank you. Five of discs. What more is it saying? What more is it saying? It's kind of saying to me the reason you have these feelings of anxiety and stress and frustration and whatever it is, it's rooted in past experiences and past relationships. And you still got some baggage, and it would be very useful if you could face that baggage and work through it and try and understand, go into yourself and follow that fear and follow that anxiety and see where it's rooted, so that you can acknowledge that part of yourself. You can acknowledge that experience and talk to yourself in the memory, like visualize the memory, go back to that place where you got traumatized or where you got hurt or whatever it was. Go back there and say to yourself, hey look, this is a different situation, this is a different man, different person, we are a different person, we have grown so much, we're in a different situation, things have changed, things are not the same there, this fear is not necessarily practical in the present, it's not really necessarily applicable in the present. Welcome, Cosmic Dust. And then the only other thing that the card has for you is to say, just do the best that you can. Just do the best that you can when you're expressing how you feel, or you're trying to get them to express how they feel, or when you're communicating with new people and you want to make a good impression because you want a relationship. Just go ahead and do the best that you can. Don't try and, change too much. Don't try and do more than you can. Just be yourself. Do the best you can. If you're feeling anxious and nervous, let it be, you don't have to make things awkward because you're feeling anxious. You can just be, you can just relax. You can and then they'll be like, what you doing? You'll be like, oh, I'm just anxious. You can be honest. You can be yourself. And what does he want from you? It doesn't really matter what he wants from you, just be yourself. And if that's not enough for him, then you need to move on. BB, welcome. Bibu. Thanks for joining us today. You're welcome, Shika. So, sure, exclaim you can. Thank you for subscribing, Bibu. I love it when people actually subscribe and they don't just say they subscribed. It's so cool. It's fantastic. Is the band I'm in cursed? Zara is now a moderator. Zara, please swat the mosquitoes when they come in. Ye Greek goddess, goddess of vengeance and justice. Shika, you're now moderator. Swat those mosquitoes when they come in. Each time they get a concert date, something happens to prevent it. That's very interesting. Exclaim, you are now moderator. Swat the mosquitoes when they come in. Okay, so where was I? Focus. Where's my brain? Where's my mind? I need to go and see what was going on, because Shika was the last one in my queue that I remember. Whoa, there's Miss Serenity all the way back up there. Ah, it was Yagane. So Yagane, are you ready to be read? So here we are, Yagane. Those messages didn't come through. And then Aries Girl and Sunch came in, but Exclaim asked for reading before they came in, so okay. At random points my my chat stops working. You are still in the queue though, Aries Girl, don't stress. But like, yeah, it's Exclaim's reading. It's going to happen now. No, Yagane is not here, so Exclaim, yes. You want to know about what's going on here with this concert dates getting? You don't want to be a moderator? Oh, I thought you would help me out, you know, since I didn't have anybody else to mod, you know, on Twitch. You know, you're in my chat most often, so I thought you would like help me out. But if you don't want to be a moderator, you don't have to be. It's all good. You know, I was hoping that you guys would like hold me back, because I'm a dangerous fucking snake. Sometimes I hurt people when they come into my chat, goes and cuck, and then they're like, they die, and they never get heard from again. If I had mods, you know, I could swat them as they come through the door. You might save lives, you know, you could be saving lives. Is your band cursed? Sanch wants to know if Sanch can help. So Sanch, this would be the very first time that we have ever spoken, so I don't trust you. No offense. But yeah, I only trust people I've gotten to know. And I've gotten to know Shika. Shika has come and joined me in my art streams, and we've chatted for hours just about life. I know where Shika lives, and Zara as well. So, yeah. And Exclaim also. Luxury. Four of Cups is the first card that I'm drawing out here regarding that question. The question of regarding the question of like what's going on, why do you keep meeting resistances every time that there is a concert or something? And this card, it just says that the way you've been approaching it is the way that you must approach it, and that is with emotional discipline. So I know what it feels like when I'm trying to take action towards something I want to create for myself, and I keep meeting resistances, unforeseen events that cancel my efforts or sabotage my efforts, and it creates all kinds of emotional turmoil inside. So this card is, yeah, it's mostly saying to you, approaching that emotional turmoil with discipline. So if you can't get to the concert, then instead of going to the concert, meeting at home, meeting it in the garage and recording a track or recording a demo album or doing something creative. The band's still doing something creative regardless of the fact of not going to the concert. And I feel like this is something you have done. If something cancels your concert, you guys are already together, you jam a little bit privately, and that is good. That saying, continue to approach it like that, but expand each time. Maybe do a live streaming session, or like put up a cell phone as your camera and stream it to Facebook on your Facebook page or whatever. You're still at a concert that way. Sanj says it's not for moderator, only for now. You need any help? So what do I need help with? I need help getting an upgrade on my laptop, so you can help me out by sending a donation to fix that. What else do I need help with? My channel is growing really slowly, so if you've got social media and you know people, you can share me out. That would also really help. What else can help? You can like and subscribe. That'll really help. There's a whole lot of things that you can do to help, so please do. Prince of Swords is in the present here for Exclaim. The Prince of Swords is like having an insight. Thank you, by the way, Sanj. So the Prince of Swords is like having an insight and a strategy to overcome this obstacle that you're facing. Yeah, it is an obstacle. Prince is about obstacles and challenges. So you're facing an obstacle, and it's not necessarily a physical obstacle, it's an energetic obstacle. It even might seem like a curse. The Prince of Swords talks about strategies and ideas and insights to overcome it, to work around it. First of all, it talks about insights, yes, coming up with ideas, strategies to prevent failures in the future, but also endurance, having endurance, and knowing that at some point you've got to make a breakthrough, right? Like, there can only be so many coincidences in front of each other before that genie or that devil that has been irritating you gets bored or runs out of tricks. Prince of Swords, Prince of Swords. So, this is also saying to me that sometimes there's an issue where one of the band members can't get through, or maybe, yeah, you, for whatever reason, the issue is with the band, and then sometimes the coincidence is where the issue is with the venue. And this card is saying that you guys can eliminate issues with the band. You can find strategic ways to eliminate issues with the band, so that the only thing that can go wrong is issues with the venue, and that will dramatically reduce the number of times that you fail to get to your concert. Thank you so much, Simran. Queen of Discs is in the future. The Queen of Discs says that you and your band have worked a long time to get where you are, and maybe concerts is a little bit out of reach at this point. Maybe stay a little closer to home. Maybe continue to practice in private, make videos, make demo albums. You know, maybe focus on that for now. Continue to focus on that. Increase your amount of focus on that. Like, when I go to your band's page, yeah, there's some cool stuff there, but there's not really a lot going on there. And there could be a lot more going on there. And also, you know, uploading videos to YouTube of yourself practicing but never making it public, that doesn't help growth, that stagnates growth. So there are a lot of obstacles that you could be overcoming that are not related to concerts. And I feel like that's the lesson here. The lesson is to focus closer to home and overcome all of those resistances on the inside before trying to tackle the resistances on the outside. And once again, YouTube has gone down. YouTube is still fine, but the chat is not working. So, I can still see the YouTube chat on the channel itself, on YouTube itself. Simran wants to know, can I go abroad in the future? Sanch retracted a message. Interesting. Yes, it's rolling. You too, Exclaim. You really have to go this time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for popping in. I hope you got some value from that reading. And yeah, so I see that the YouTube chat has stopped rolling on the screen, but it is still rolling on YouTube itself. So let me just send a message to the guys in charge of the Restream chat and tell them that it's not working, because this is like the third time that it's happening today. So I'll just send them a message saying, hey, this is not working, just letting you know, so they can get to work sorting it out. Starting a new conversation. Something isn't working. YouTube chat is having some difficulty. Stream is fine, chat is not. Okay. Back to YouTube. Oh, it was for Zara. Well, I don't think Zara's in the chat. Zara pops in every now and then. She'll like go and mind her business, then she'll come back and make sure everybody's behaving themselves, and then she'll go. And that's how Greek goddesses work. Do you know Zara? Have you met her before? so after Exclaim we had Aries, following Aries we had Sanj. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna be online for another hour. I've just reached the 2-hour mark, and I'm probably gonna be here for another hour. But I really need the toilet. So Aries girl, you're next. Following Aries girl is Sanj, and I'm gonna go and use the toilet. So I'll see you in a second. know what's going on, guys. Don't know why my camera's like that now. Like nothing has changed. It shouldn't be frozen like that, but yet it is. Now it's black. I guess I'm gonna have to restart the server. Okay, it's working now. So Aries girl, you're next if you're still here. It looks like everybody left. But if you're still here, Sanj is still here, and Aries here still here. Cool. So I don't know what that's about. My viewer counter says there's 0 people watching the stream, yet you guys are here, so wonder what that's about. So A's current thoughts and feelings are A's business, not your business. So I'm gonna lay out the cards and let the spirit speak to you. But yeah, I'm not going to. I can, and so because I can, I'm not gonna, because it's rude. It's not okay. Like I don't walk around like spying into everyone's minds. What's that person thinking? What's that person thinking? I've been there, and all I ended up doing was making myself really anxious and miserable. Knowing what everyone is thinking is very stressful. Yeah, I don't actually need these anymore. When I started out, I needed the cards, I needed the scrying ball, I needed the dice, I needed the pendulum to do divination, but after doing it for like 4 years, I don't need it anymore. I just close my eyes for a moment and visualize the person, and suddenly all of these thoughts I can hear and feel and see. Welcome, Rahul. 3 of Swords in reverse. I still use the cards on stream. I still use the tools on stream because, you know, that's the biggest search term. If I don't have the word tarot readings in my video title, nobody comes into the chat. Yeah, so yeah, that's what people are looking for. So 3 of Swords in reverse. Three of Swords in reverse. This is like, it says in the past you've allowed fears to outweigh your goals, fears to outweigh your intuition. Like in your relationship, you see yourself as intuitive, or you get this idea, oh, maybe he's cheating on me, shit, maybe he's cheating on me, and you start to believe that fear is your intuition telling you that he's cheated on you. So you start accusing him or treating him like he's cheated on you, but actually it hasn't happened. It's your own fear that's dictating and overwhelming your mind, and it's nothing to do with him. It's your own fears, your own shit going on here. So this card is just showing itself up so you can acknowledge that, and, you know, going forward in the relationship that you're currently in with A and whoever else, if you're feeling these thoughts and ideas that are coming up for you that are based in fear, if the thought is to do with fear, then you know it's not intuition. Intuition is never about fear. So that is my intuition telling me that. My intuition says anything that is based in fear or anger or shame, guilt is not intuition. And that inner knowing that says that, that is intuition. That inner knowing, like I come up with an idea, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna buy some milk next door. The inner knowing that says to me, actually, there's no reason to go and get milk. That inner knowing, like going there, you're going to spend money you don't have, da 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 da. There's like this inner knowing that it's not a good idea or that it is a good idea. That's intuition. Well, this card is not talking about him. You know, I told you I'm not going to pry into his thoughts for you. This is just talking about your past relationships in general. This is talking about you and the way you've been in. You've allowed fear, and yeah, you've allowed fears to overcome your hopes. Fears to take the place of hopes. That's what this card is saying, and it's showing up to so that you can acknowledge it and you can avoid letting it happen in the future. Avoid letting it happen in your future relationships. Whether that future relationship is with A or somebody else. Welcome, Jesse the Explorer. Thanks for liking. Please subscribe. 2. Priestess in the present. Priestess says to you that there are many opportunities in the present. There's an opportunity here with A. An opportunity for a new friendship. An opportunity for a romance. Opportunities for emotional abundance and joy and love and lots of abundance. It just says there's so much opportunity and abundance, and you have reached for it. You've met him, you've interacted with him, you took his number, maybe, I don't know. You've reached for the opportunity, but now you have to commit to it. If you want it, and this applies to all opportunities in your life, not just this relationship, this connection with A. Anytime that there's an opportunity and you grab it, you need to commit to it. Because it's like planting a seed. You grab it, you plant it, and now you have to come back every day and water it. And if it starts raining too much, you need to protect it, shield it from the rain. As it grows up, then cows might want to come and eat it. You need to put a little fence around it to protect it, and so on and so forth. You protect and commit to nourishing and growing your seed. One day, it won't need any of this attention anymore. It'll be self-sustaining and it will give you that abundance. It'll have its fruit to be harvested. But until then, you have to look after it. Princess of Swords in reverse. This says to me that you've got certain beliefs, certain ideas on how the world should work or how people should behave, certain conditions, and that's not compatible with relationships of any kind. Any kind of relationship you get into, the other person is always going to disagree with you on something. They are always going to break the conditions that you have. They have to be so, or they have to live so, they have to. Everybody you meet, no matter who it is never going to fulfill those standards that you have. And so, holding those standards, clinging on to them, believing in them, is detrimental to every kind of relationship you could ever have. And this card says it's time to let go of them. It's time to let go of those silly beliefs. It's time to let go of conditions and start accepting people for who they are, and allowing people to disagree with you and have different ideas and different beliefs and different perspectives. Because you're never going to find someone who sees the world exactly the way you do. There's no two human beings on the planet who have the same paradigm. That's the lesson of the Tower of Babel. I don't know if you know the story of the Tower of Babel, but that's where they couldn't build a tower to heaven because everybody spoke a different language. And that's literally how it is. And it doesn't mean physical languages. It's not a physical tower to heaven. It means that nobody can ascend into heaven. Like no one has been able to, because everyone wants things to be their way. Everyone wants things to be their way. They can't just let people be themselves and see the world through their own eyes. Sanch and then Rahul. there's probably others. BB. It's Sanch, and then BB, and then Rahul. And Jesse D, if you want a reading, you're going to have to just jump in that queue. Anything good you can expect in the next 48 hours? Thanks. So, I already have an answer for that. I don't need to look at the cards to give you an answer to that. And the answer is that yes, there are many good things that are coming to you in the next 48 hours. So many good things and so many bad things. And that's how it is every single day. Every single day is full of blessings. Full to the brim of blessings. Most of them you're overlooking. Most of them you don't notice. When you talk about something good, you have an idea of what it's supposed to be or what it needs to look like. It needs to be, I need to win the lottery. That's what you're expecting, something like that. Or you're expecting something unreasonably big. And there are thousands of small things, thousands of small blessings that the universe and the gods are giving you. But you're waiting for something big. And so you miss out on all of them. Seven of Cups. So the Seven of Cups says that you've been spending a lot of time at home, eating snacks when you're bored, just eating snacks, watching TV, playing games, touching yourself generously many times. It says you've been doing this because you know you're waiting for this big blessing. You're waiting for something to happen. Instead of going out and creating something or doing something creative to create something good or something big, you're just waiting for it to happen. And so you're feeling bored, or you're feeling impatient, or you're feeling these difficult things that you don't really want to face. You don't really want to acknowledge them or face them or change them. So instead of facing them, you've been doing all those other things, distracting yourself. And they start to get sour. Like, you can only orgasm so many times, and then you can't make yourself orgasm anymore. You can only watch TV for so long before it starts getting really boring. You can only eat so many snacks before you start getting nauseous, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of, you're reaching that point where those things are not giving you enjoyment anymore, and so it's kind of forcing you to look for other ways, look for other things, face that thing that you don't want to face, do something creative, make something good happen. It's kind of like you're running out of distractions because the distractions are not good enough anymore, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing. This card, number 5, the Hierophant, says that living like this, living in this like debauchery state of like just indulging pleasures upon pleasures upon pleasures, it's not a good example. It's all good, it's all fine, you can do it, you do you, no judgment. But this card is saying that it's not setting a good example for the other people who know you, for the people who look up to you. It's not setting a good example for them. And this card is also saying that you've been following examples that are not necessarily good examples. And you kind of know this, but you feel like, okay, well, if they can do it, then so can I. And that's not the right mentality. You need to be yourself and choose what's right for you regardless of what other people are doing. You need to set the example that you don't have. You need to be the good example for others to see. And then this card also says just do the best you can. You don't have to do better than you can. Just make a change, a little change here, a little change there. It doesn't have to be dramatic changes. You don't have to suddenly be reborn as a new person. You can just make slow, different changes as much as you can handle at once. Do one constructive habit and then one other constructive habit. Think in terms of 1% increases. 1%. Do 1% better tomorrow. Do 1% better the next day. Do 1% better next week, and so on. Five of Wands emphasizes on that, says the exact same thing. Create changes and growth in 1%, in like bouts of 1% increases, 1% increases. Tiny little increases, tiny little changes for the better. And those changes should be aligned with your desires. So what do you want to create with life? What makes life worth living? Why are you even here? Like what kind of life do you want to live? What kind of house do you want to live in? How many cars are you going to have? How many children are you going to have? So on and so forth. What is your desire? Why are you here on this planet, and what are you creating? And then all of these little changes that you make should bring you step by step closer to those desires. Because the future doesn't happen to you. You create the future. Like you will visualize it. Okay, this is the future that I want. And then slowly you will bring pieces of that future into your present. Because you can only know the present. You can't know the future. Future is just a picture in your mind. And it changes all the time. No more passion. Simmering down now. You're welcome. We're sorry to hear you're having an issue. Can you please tell us more about what happened? Meanwhile, we'll transfer you to the next available support. La da da da. This is just the replies I got when I said yep, I'm currently live. Chat is back. But my responses are delayed. Because I'm engaging, because I'm streaming. Yeah. YouTube chat went down. Yeah, disconnected and reconnected multiple times before I sent the message. Stream itself remained stable throughout. Okay, back to the queue. Who's next? Cosmic Dust, welcome. So Bibu's next, and then Cosmic Dust, I'll throw you in the queue as well. JD Explorer never answered when I asked if she wanted to get a reading, so yes, Bibu, you can post now. Please do. And you're welcome, Cosmic Dust. When will I get a new job? A better question, Bibu, is how can I get a new job? Oh, Rahul. Rahul was after Bibi. That's right. Thanks for confirming. Sorry, man. With all the chat problems, I've been losing track of who's in the queue, and so many people have left the queue as well. And there are so many trolls as well. It's actually just one troll. Bibu, career advice. Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords, Queen of Swords. So, people, this Queen of Swords says to you that you've had a lot of disappointments. You've applied to jobs and you get a lot of disappointments, and those disappointments are all tied to your expectations. Like, you have expectations of getting this job, getting that interview, getting paid this amount, and all of those expectations can't be filled. It's too much, it's too specific. So, you know, if you apply for a job, and like, I've been there, I apply for a job and then I get so attached to getting that job, so much expectation and craving for that specific job, so that when I never hear back from them, it hurts so much and it's so disappointing. And the same thing, I get an interview and now I'm even more attached. Have even more expectations, and I go for the interview and I don't get the job, and I feel crushed to the point where I can barely even bring myself to apply to another job. So this is just showing itself up here, saying you've got to let go of the expectation. You've got to start, you know, surrendering the expectation, being like, I will accept whatever happens. I will accept where, if I get this job, I get this job. If I don't, I don't. I accept, and I trust that the universe will give me what I need when it's the right time. As long as I'm doing the best that I can. As long as I'm trying, that's what matters. Six of Wands. Six of Wands, Six of Wands. This is overcoming your limits. Like, some of these jobs, maybe you're a little bit underqualified for. Some of the things that you've applied for, some of the things that you want to do, maybe you're a little bit underqualified for, but that's never stopped you from trying, and it shouldn't stop you from trying. The Six of Wands just recommends that you communicate with other people who do those kinds of things for a living. You know, start making friends with people who do the things that you want to do. That have the realities that you want to live, the amount of money, the lifestyle, everything that you're trying to create, that you desire. Look for other people who have that and who have created that for themselves, and learn from them. Watch them, see their example. How did they get there? Listen to them, talk to them. You will overcome your limits by interacting with other people who are already doing the things that you want to do and you want to accomplish. I'm an engineer, 16 years experience, currently working in Dubai. Doesn't change the reading. It still says you holding on to attachments, expectations, let go of them, and you can overcome any limitations you face by interacting with other people who have been doing what you're doing longer, and etc., etc., who are more qualified, etc., etc. Queen of Cups in reverse. What is the Queen of Cups in reverse telling me? Queen of Cups is very much along the same lines as the Queen of Swords, about expectations. It's kind of saying to me that you know you're not going to change. And that's really shifting to see, and I don't really want to acknowledge it. But the Queen of Cups is saying to me that you're not really going to change anything. You're going to continue doing things the way you have been. building up attachments and cravings, and then becoming averse and angry and disappointed about it when it doesn't meet those standards. And the Spirit is saying that, hearing it from the cards is pretty much what it's going to take, or it's the best hope. It's the best hope for bringing about some kind of change. Is it saying anything else? Other thing that it's saying is don't look for other people who reflect yourself. So it's very easy to see yourself in someone else and be like, oh, I like that person because he reminds me of myself. He must be a soulmate or a twin flame. He's got 16 years of experience as an engineer and he's in the exact same boat as me, trying to get a new job. It's like, don't look for that kind of person to evolve. Don't follow that kind of example. You want to find someone who's better than you. Like, I'm a musician and an artist. Something that we as artists say to each other is like, you're never going to grow if you're surrounding yourself with other musicians and artists who are not as good as you or the same level as you. You have to play with artists who are better than you if you want to grow. So Rahul is next, and then Cosmic Dust. Buffering is a standard issue on my current network. Chat disconnect is a new issue I haven't experienced before. Cool. No problem, Bibu. You're welcome. This is general blessings coming to Rahul in July. It's a 3 of discs. So this card says to you the things that you've set in motion are coming back to you. So, you set in motion exercise routine, you've changed some habits, some dietary habits, you started new financial projects maybe, you started a new project, I don't know what it is, started a new job. 3 is about, becoming aware of what it's going to take to create the kind of financial security you want, or to create the kind of health you want and the level of fitness you want. It's like becoming aware of it, and so once you're aware, you move into a routine, or you start setting routine for yourself that brings you towards that outcome. So it's like saying to you that those are the things you're going to be experiencing in July, the results of what you've been sowing, the results of the things you're setting in motion. Those are the blessings. Like if you've started exercising, you're going to see weight loss and you're going to see muscle growth. If you've started dieting, you're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to feel better on the inside, from the inside outwards, better complexion, so on and so forth. The Empress is in the present. So this is talking about relationships with your mother, relationships with your partner, your female partner, wife, girlfriend, whatever. It's saying that you've been pouring commitment into those relationships. You've been pouring nourishment into your relationship with your mother and your relationship with your partner and all the other women in your life that are dear to your heart. And so you know you're going to see rewards of that. You're going to see the results of that growth, that investment into those relationships. You're going to see abundance there in your relationships with your mother and with your partner and the other women in your life, sister maybe, cousins, aunts. You're going to see growth there, connection, joy. Your blessings are going to come from there, because once again you've been investing your energy there. The Prince of Cups is in the future. So the Prince of Cups says that even though you're going to see the results of the things you've set in motion, even though you're going to see the results of the time you're spending with those who are dear to you, it's still not gonna, you're not going to feel the way you expected to feel. When you see these blessings come into your life, you're not going to feel very blessed. And yeah, it's going to bring you new insight into your own condition, because most of the time you feel like, if only I could accomplish this blessing, or if only I was getting more blessings than curses, or if only this or if only that, then I would feel better. And so those blessings are coming and you're not going to feel better because of them. You're going to realize that your emotional being, your emotional well-being is not decided by external factors. How happy you are inside is not decided by your relationships. How happy you are inside is not decided by how much money you're earning. It comes from inside, and that's the shift that's going to happen. You're going to realize that. And this card says to you that you must go ahead, once you realize that, once that clicks for you, you need to go ahead and start dealing with that issue on the inside. First of all, practicing gratitude for yourself, practicing self-care, taking care of yourself, practicing self-recognition, congratulating yourself, giving yourself rewards, and not waiting for that from the outside, blessing yourself. And yeah. Taking time out to be with yourself, and yeah. Cosmic Dust wants love readings for July, please. Cosmic Dust is next in the queue, and following Cosmic Dust is Shiv Shakti. Welcome though, Kirti Rugani. And you'd like a reading if the list is open. So the list is open. You're welcome, Rahul. Oops. Cosmic Dust, the Prince of Cups jumped out for you, and it's in reverse, just like in the last reading. It's saying pretty much the same thing, or along the same lines. It's saying that you have a tendency to look for your emotional abundance and your emotional security from the outside. You have a tendency to expect, like, say, oh, if I win the lottery, or if I succeed with this project, or if I get a good partner, if these things can line up, then I can feel good. But then they line up and you still don't feel good. And then again you say, well, if only I had so much to eat right now, if I had a chocolate, if only this, or if only that. Again, you just keep doing the same thing, saying if only, looking for it outside. And then when you get it, nothing's changed inside, you still feel the same. So that card is saying to you that you can't find it outside. Something needs to shift in the way you're approaching this issue. If there is something inside that doesn't feel right, you need to go inside to fix it. You cannot find the solution outside. You're not going to find it in a relationship or in a partner. And here I have number 17, the star. From above to below. So in this card, the star goddess is pouring a cup. The cup is full of energy and she's pouring it out, and she's like looking into the energy as it spills. So this kind of says to me that, you know, whatever you're feeling or whatever you're experiencing, pour it out, you know, express it creatively. Express it in words, in song, in writing, express it in drawing, art, and observe it. You know, observe what you're feeling, like watch it, understand it, listen to what it's saying. If it's telling you to do something spiteful or to do something shameful, don't. Continue to do something creative. If it's telling you to do something impulsive, don't. Do something creative and just observe it and watch it and listen to it and experience it. This card, it says to me that most of these feelings of dissatisfaction or frustration or whatever it is that you're dealing with on the inside, it comes because of overwhelm, or feeling overwhelmed by priorities and responsibilities. It's like you feel you could find a solution if you had a partner, and then maybe you could take some of this weight off your shoulders. But this card says to you, you can solve the overwhelm issue yourself. First of all, by observing what you're feeling and not taking action. Like, if I'm feeling afraid, if I'm carrying all these responsibilities and I'm feeling afraid, like I can't do it, then I unconsciously start doing things that sabotage those responsibilities. It gets rid of them for me. But that hurts my desires, that hurts my purpose, that hurts my family when I drop my responsibilities. So if I'm observing it properly, I can avoid that self-sabotaging action. If I'm channeling it properly, I can avoid that self-sabotaging action. And if I have my priorities in the right order, like having mismatched priorities, here's an example. Say it's very important for me to write this article, like that will get me paid today. I'm a freelance writer and I have this article and I've got a deadline. So that should be at the top of my priority list, but I'm not doing that right now. I'm busy cleaning dishes. Yeah, sure, dishes need to be done, but I'm now putting my livelihood at risk because I've put the things in the wrong order of priority. I could be doing the dishes later, doing the writing first. So that adds to my stress. The more I'm doing dishes, the more stressed I'm getting because I'm running out of time to do my article. That's an example. Five of Cups. Five of Cups is in the position of the future. It's what's on this card answers your question of love. It says, when you are doing the best that you can with your emotional experience, when you reach your limit, when you're doing like everything you know about handling emotions and channeling emotions and dealing with stress and dealing with lust and dealing with all of the stuff, when you've applied everything that you know and you're doing the best that you can, that's when you're going to find a partner. That's when love is going to come into your space. Until then, you know, until you learn the lesson, the universe is just going to keep on putting you through the same lesson. Once you've learned the lesson, the universe will bring you to the next step. So the sooner you can apply all of your knowledge and experience and, you know, get your priorities in order and dive into yourself and find that new insight on what needs to shift in your own behavior, that's when you're going to encounter love, and that's when you're going to connect to it properly. Hey there, Seema. Welcome back. Shiv Shakti wants angelic messages. So you're very much eclectic. Last week you wanted messages from Krishna. This week you want messages from the angels. You know that they're from different religions, right? Angels and demigods are from different religions. Just pointing it out. It doesn't really matter. When I do readings, I get messages from the spirits. Sometimes those spirits have names if I call a specific name. But they're all spirits, you know? And I think you know that and you understand that. Cosmic Dust, you're most welcome. And I'm okay. Punjani, Seema, I'm okay. How about you? Are you okay? Angel messages for Shiv Shakti. Kurti says, doesn't matter because Divine Supreme is one. You know, Kurti, that is your paradigm though. Not everybody agrees with that. Not everybody sees the world that way. And I don't know what Divine Supreme is. That word doesn't really make much sense to me. So the way beliefs should work is if your beliefs help you accomplish the things that you want to accomplish in your life, and they make you feel good about yourself, then you should be believing them. You should use them and continue to believe them. If your beliefs are holding you back or placing limits on what you can accomplish, then you should not be believing it. You should be cutting it out. I'm not offended, Kurti. I'm not at all offended. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to expand, break the limits on how we perceive the world and the words that we use, recognizing each other, recognizing that not everyone can see the world the same way, and so we start talking to other people as if they see the world the same way as us. That there are infinite ways to look at things, and that your belief is about what serves you and what doesn't serve you. Ace of Wands. Sorry, Shiv Shakti. I will read for you, but my spirit is saying that saying these things that I'm busy saying is more important. It's a more important guidance for you than what the cards are going to say, or it's equally important. So in Christianity, a lot of Christians believe that psychic abilities are evil. But then if you read the Bible, there are so many people in the Bible who had psychic abilities and healing abilities and all kinds of stuff. But then most Christians today believe that it's evil. So then if they have an intuitive nudge, they push it away. If they see tarot cards, they hide away. They don't want anything to do with it. So they put a lot of limits on themselves because of these things that they're believing. And that's ridiculousness. And it's the same for every religion. Every religion has people who believe things that are absurd, things that place limits on them, and those kinds of beliefs need to be cut away, need to be shed. You don't need limiting beliefs in your life. If your beliefs allow you to grow and allow you to develop and allow you to experience new abilities and allow you to become healthier as an individual, those are great beliefs and you should hold on to them. Ace of Wands, Ace of Wands, Ace of Wands. This is saying talk about the things that you're passionate about, because you typically don't. You typically don't, and there are a lot of people who want to support you in the things that you're passionate about and want to help you accomplish your desires, manifest your desires. Talk about your intentions and your desires. Because in the past you keep it all to yourself. You work in secret, low-key, private. You don't talk to anyone, and so everything rests on your shoulders alone. But there are so many people who actually want to help you get to where you're going, and they have to know. They have to know what you're doing. They have to know what you're passionate about before they can help you. So this card says turn it around. It was upside down. Turn it the right way around in the future, and start communicating about what you want to do, what you intend to do, and what you want to accomplish. It also says to you be discerning though, because if you know someone is a gossip, If you know someone likes to gossip, and you know someone is untrustworthy, don't talk to them. Don't be honest with them. Tell them as little as possible. But if it's someone that you love and you care for and you cherish and you know they're trustworthy, someone who has been supportive in the past, then you should be communicating things to them. You should be open and honest with them and vulnerable as they are with you. I've got number 16 in the present, and it is the Tower. So this card says to me that you're feeling frustrated with yourself because there are some things that you've been believing about yourself, about what you can do, about the universe around you, that may not necessarily be true, and may be placing limits on you. And when other people confront you on it, it triggers a response. Anger, frustration, fear, and you realize that why is that happening to me? Why am I having this kind of response? If I really believed in that, whatever it was, believed in that deity, or if I believed in that practice or that philosophy or that religious figure, if I really believed in it, why would I get so upset when someone challenges the idea? As a result, you're diving into it, you're asking yourself those questions, you're diving into it, looking for the root. And the point of that is to get rid of the insecurity, to find out what it is that you're insecure about and why you're insecure about it. Like, if you say you believe this thing and you feel this way, what is it that's preventing you from truly believing it? And, seeking out that root so that you can either cut out that belief or reinforce it. And then the other bit of advice that card has for you is that even when you feel those triggers, right, you feel that well up of difficult emotion because you've been confronted about something you thought you really were secure on, you don't have to respond to the feeling. Like, if it's anger, it might make you want to say something rude. You don't have to. You can say something constructive or something gentle, regardless of how you're feeling. You can channel that emotion into creative and constructive actions and constructive words, regardless of what it is. And yeah. Number 4, the Emperor. Number 4, the Emperor says that your identity should be based around your own, like, what you can create. So if you set a routine for yourself and you say, okay, I'm going to get up at this time and I'm going to go to sleep at this time, and I'm going to do this because I only have certain amount of hours in the day to work on this creative project or draw this picture or write that song, so I need so many hours. And in order to do that, I need to go to bed at this time and I need to wake up at that time. And then you stay consistent with it and it works for you and you see positive results. And that is something that can become a foundation stone for your identity. Not something you read in a book or some religious teacher told you. It's through your own experience. Like, okay, I have discovered this teaching is practical and healthy when I apply it in my life. And that's how you create secure foundation stones for your identity. Not just believing it because it was told to you, because you read it somewhere, but actually how you experienced it when you applied it to your life. That's the advice that this card has for you, the guidance. It's saying, like, create routine, create structure, create changes in your life, create discipline in your life, take the teachings you're hearing and put them to the test. And the ones that fail, when you put it to the test and it doesn't work out for you, throw it away. If it comes to you and you apply it and it works out for you, yes, it becomes a foundation stone and you can be very secure in it. And when people challenge you, it doesn't matter because you've had the practical experience, and you can say to them, well, dude, it doesn't matter what you're saying to me, it doesn't matter if you're disagreeing with me, because I have applied this. Like, it's written there, and there's a scripture written there that says, if I do X, Y, and Z, I will get X, Y, and Z. And I've applied it, and I've seen that it is true, it works. So it doesn't matter how many times you tell me that the book isn't real, I've experienced the results already. Curti says, stay happy. Yes, true. Seema says, my intuition tries to tell me something. What is that? If you guide me. Excuse me, Seema, that's difficult for me to make sense of. So, when I'm guiding you, Seema, when I'm giving you guidance, right? Give me 10 minutes? Sure. Cool. If I'm giving you guidance, Seema, and there's this voice in your head that's like, okay, that I know is bullshit. Oh, yes, that is true about me. That inner voice, that inner knowing on whether the advice you're getting is going to work for you or not, that inner knowing, that's your intuition. And you're most welcome, Sheep Shakti. You're most welcome. Yeah, Seema, so I'm giving you guidance and you have this knowing, like it's hitting you, you feel it. Oh, okay, right, okay, I understand. That inner understanding, that inner knowing when you're getting good advice is your intuition. That inner knowing when you're looking at someone and they're trying to tell you something and you know they're just talking cuck. And that inner knowing, that's again your intuition. And then Kurt, you wanted to know about exams or something? Saturday the 6th of July, it's a court hearing. Okay. Let's see what's going on there in the legal world for Kurti. The Magus. Honesty, Kurti. Complete and utter honesty. Don't lie. That'll be a very bad idea, and if you have lied, confess it. Queen of Discs. Be grateful for the outcomes that you have already heard, that you have already had. Like you've taken this matter to court, certain changes have already happened, certain settlements have already been reached. Be grateful for the changes that have already happened. Don't lose those changes by fighting for something more. Don't lose the little bits of goodness that you've accomplished by fighting for more. 9 of Cups. There's still a lot of difficult emotions to come up. You're dealing with something, I don't know, it's probably a divorce. So you're still experiencing the loss. There's still the pain of loss. There's a lot of difficult, painful heartache that needs to express itself. Don't express it in the courthouse, don't let it sabotage your hearing. Don't let it sabotage, don't take a compulsive action. Just recognize that you haven't expressed, you haven't fully tapped into the experience of the loss yet, and it's still gonna come. And when you experience it, you're allowed to let it flow, but don't make anyone else responsible for it. Don't hurt anyone else because of what you're feeling, because that's going to be detrimental to your court hearing. And then the Magus in the present, it wants to emphasize on honesty, clarity, and vulnerability. It's saying that in your mind you're rehearsing ideas, you're coming up with plans, and there's dishonesty there. There are things that are not necessarily true that you plan to say, don't say them. And it also says there are things that are very important for you to say that you don't plan to say, that you plan to keep a secret. Talk about it. Talk about it with your lawyer, talk about it in the courthouse. The things that you have not yet spoken about that are actually very important that you've been hiding, talk about them. And the things that you've been planning to say that are not necessarily true, don't say them. Be honest. And the last thing that this card has for you is that you've got a lot of tools of communication at your disposal right now. You can write letters to people, you can communicate, you've got forms to fill, communication doesn't just happen with words in the courthouse. There are other forms of communication that should be taking place, that you should be engaging with, other tools of communication that you could be using and should be using. Back to this one. As it said, like, since this court situation started, you've already communicated with, I don't know, maybe with a judge, maybe even if it isn't the judge that you're going to see on Saturday, you have communicated with other legal figures, and certain resolutions have already been found. So this Queen of Discs says to you, be grateful for those little changes that you've already accomplished, the good things that have already happened for you since this started. Don't, like, maybe you had an idea, like you want full custody of your child, say, it's an example. I don't know why you're going to court, but say you want full custody of your child, and you've started you're talking to your husband, ex-husband about it, you've been talking to the lawyers, and they've given suggestions, or they've changed his mind because he was fighting for full custody, and so were you. You were both all in out, despite the other one. And then the lawyer spoke to you both, and then your husband was like, actually, it's okay if you have like most of the custody and I only get visits once a week, or if we get half custody, or whatever changes have already happened in the minds of the people involved. Be grateful for those shifts. When you get to the end of the court hearing, if the judge is like, okay, this is what's going to happen, and it's not what you had originally fought for, don't push too hard, because you can end up losing that little bit of change that has already happened if you fight too hard or push too hard for more. And then once again, we're back at this one, and that is that you haven't fully felt the loss or the pain of what you're going through yet, and it's still to come. So just be mindful that when you express it, that you're not hurting other people in your expression, that you're not hurting your children through your emotional pain, or you're not hurting your partner through your emotional pain, or other people in your life, because that will be detrimental to your court situation, to your legal situation. Punjabi literature for UPSC, Seema. Did you want a reading? Stream now. It's 2 hours and 58 minutes. I would push a little longer. I'd push until 3 hours, but nah. Why push until 3 hours when there's no one to read for, right? So goodbye, guys. Bye-bye, bye-bye. Tabitha Rose Fairy is now following. Thank you so much for the follow, Tabitha. But yeah, I'm right at the end of the stream, so I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be drawing tomorrow, doing art and stuff, and then on Saturday or Sunday I'll do tarot again. Cheerio then. Cheerio.